2008, I set out on a spiritual journey so profound and so radical that it changed my perception of reality forever. These are a few of my stories, my postcards from the multiverse. It was a Friday night, and I was skimming the net looking for spiritual and metaphysical material, half asleep and fighting off going to bed. I followed a link that sounded interesting. It was somebody's blog discussing consciousness and spiritual practice. My eyes were half closed, and I was close to throwing in the towel and going to bed. I scrolled down the page and I read, "We're contacting you because you asked us to." My eyes snapped open. I was awake. I read it again. "We are contacting you because you asked us to." I thought about it for a moment. I scanned the other stories on the page. Interesting, but a little far out. I was looking for spiritual insights, and they were talking about star beings in ships circling the Earth. Nah, I wandered into the wrong place. They're talking UFOs, aliens, and Jesus? Come on. This stuff was a little nutty. At the bottom of the article, it said, "To find out more, hit this link." I hit the link. I got to a new site, scanned the stories, but the information was just too outrageous, too crazy even for me. This had to be a joke. I read a little more and logged off. It was bull. This had to be a scam or something. I turned off the computer and went to bed, forgot about it, and the next morning I rejoined my life already in progress. A week later, I was in the exact same position. It's almost 3 a.m. on a Friday night, and I'm fighting off going to bed. I'd been surfing the net looking for inspirational material, and I ended up on somebody's blog. I scanned down the page and I read, "We are contacting you because you asked us to." My eyes snapped open. In my mind, I heard the word "again." I stared at the screen for a few moments. This was the same random blog I had stumbled onto the week before. At this point in my life, I know there are no coincidences. I read a couple stories on the site, and they're selling the same nutty stuff I ran into a week ago. I hit the link at the bottom of the article, and I'm taken to the same page with the same crazy crap. Give me a break. This had to be a scam. I backtracked to the original blog and started looking at every post and every picture for the last several months. All of a sudden, I'm looking at a painting that looks like a companion version of the pastel I had drawn over 30 years before when I was first living with Ellie. It had the same shades of colors, the same scenery, the same tone. If you took my pastel and imagined what the scene would look like if you continued off the edge of the page, it could be this picture. I'd been around the spiritual block more than once, and I knew this meant something. I jumped to the bottom of the page and took the link back out to Crazy Town. It went beyond UFOs and Jesus. They were talking time travelers, sainted prophets, ancient creator gods, angels, dragons, and pixies. What the hell was I going to do with this? Over the years, I'd developed a highly sensitive BSO-meter, and I could smell a line of crap at 100 yards. I turned it up to 11 and decided to find out for myself. But, I said out loud to the universe, the first whiff of something funny, and I'm out of there. I started reading. The first story I read was a description of the higher dimensions as different frequencies of light. The higher and finer your frequency, the more light you were able to hold, and the less vulnerable you were to the dysfunction of 3D. Then I read about the Pleiadians. They are galactic humans from the star system Pleiades, whom we happen to be related to. Then a story about the Syrians of Sirius in ancient Egypt and the wisdom teachings of ninth-dimensional Arcturians, energy beings who can mentally project physical bodies anywhere in the universe. I read about archangels Michael and Metatron, then messages from the ascended masters, Jeshua, Kuan Yin, Mary Magdalene, and spiritual teachers I never heard of, which then led me to the next story, and the next story, and the next story. I kept going through the night till early the next afternoon. I crawled off to bed, slept for a few hours, got up, and picked up where I left off. I don't know how it happened, but I was beginning to see all this crazy stuff in a new way. It was too fantastic by half, but somehow, God help me, it was beginning to make sense. 24 hours ago, I would have rolled my eyes, but now I was feeling invigorated, inspired. I was excited to see what else there was.